Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you, how come nobody's talking about this? Today, on How Come Nobody's Talking About This, I want to talk about what happened to Emperor's Children. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not always here to rain on GW's parade. The balanced data slate was alright. I think it was okay enough. Some armies definitely, as per usual, feel that it was better than others, and others worse than, others. But looking over at Emperor's Children, I don't know if you can afford to do this right now because you don't have enough models. Now, what this is, I guess I should go through it. The Demon Prince of Slaanesh with wings went up by 20 points. So that means the build that was working in Coterie of the Conceited, if we need a refresher, let's go to Francois Lalonde. Yeah, triple Demon Prince with wings, that went up 60 points. Mm-hmm. That alone went up 60 points. Lucius the Eternal went up 10. Really can't understand that one needing to go up that much, but hey, that's another 70 points on the list. Noise Marines went up 10 points. Let's see how many in this one. Yeah, okay, so that's another 30 points on the list. And Coterie of the Conceited Enhancement went up 10 points. So we're looking at quite a lot of points for a faction that doesn't have a whole lot of models on the standard Coterie of the Conceited list. That's not great, right? But on the plus side, Fulgrim went down to 365. And many people would say that they still won't pay 365 for Fulgrim. Now, I where will I where do I lie on this, right? Personally, I have some faith in Fulgrim. Just a little bit. Especially now that we see that GW is trying to bring T12 to T11 and make T11 the new T12. Is that how that works? Because it's not getting tankier. They're just like reducing the toughness of everything. Cough, cough, looking at the Chaos Knights leaks that turned out to be true. And on that point, I guess Emperor's Children, you might want to look into including a cheap Chaos Knight, maybe, huh? But yeah, Fulgrim, if that's what they're going to do, I guess. Now, I am scared of the Lion while we're talking about Primarchs, and Gilliman, whatever. Angron kind of got shafted. Mortarion is okay, and Magnus isn't as scary, but I still don't want to go against Magnus. So when I put things into that context, 365 points for a faction that doesn't have a lot right now, to me, I would be able to justify it. I am not an Emperor's Children player yet, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. I'm still on the fence about that one. But, it's. I could see it. 365 points, T11, 2 up save, 4 up invuln, 16 wounds. That ongoing poison effect, for those of you that don't know, Fulgrim got demonic poisons. In your shooting phase and the fight phase, after this model has finished making its attacks, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the battle, that enemy unit is poisoned. At the start of each player's command phase, roll 1d6 for each poisoned enemy unit on the battlefield. On a 4-up, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. While we're talking about this, there was no FAQ that I saw, unless I completely blanked and missed it. Actually, let's triple check. Let us triple check before I continue this sentence. Looking up the app, Emperor's Children, Codex, FAQ. Yep, no, okay, just want to make sure. People really wanted Fulgrim's poison to be like, yeah, as long as he's alive, can we get FAQ on that? I'm like, no, it's not that great. It's a 4-up D3 mortal wounds after he's attacked. Like, don't get me wrong, that's annoying, but I really don't think it's the thing that's gonna break the camel's back. Then past that, you have your Demon Primarch Slaanesh, choose an ability. In your opponent's command phase, though, this has kind of been a new flavor that they're doing with those. Subtract 1 from the hit roll every time something tries to attack you. Cute. Fights first. Cute. And enthralling hypnosis. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit is selected to fall back, gotta take leadership. If the test is failed, they have to remain stationary. Cute. You're not using it. You're using the first two. You have Deep Strike, you have Fly, Demon, Chaos, Monster, Character, all that jazz, right? Fulgrim at 365 points. 130 millimeter base, wings out the wazoo. I think there's hope. If Emperor's Children looks to continue down the path of, I was going to say a toughness skew, but it's not, of bringing demons, I guess. So the Demon Princess Linus with wings, T9 isn't like the bulkiest thing ever, and everybody was using it for the demonic destruction. Each time this model ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of it and roll 1d6 for each of this model's remaining wounds. For each 4-up, that enemy unit suffers one mortal wound to a max of 6. 200 points now. The profile is whatever, but that ability is pretty decent. And then stimulated by pain, each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. Also, pretty good. So, between 3 of these things and 1 Fulgrim, maybe now, that might be something worth exploring, because again, we did that funky little thing here, where you didn't get much to work with out the gate. And with the pledge of unholy fortune, which would be 30 points now, once per turn, just after a hit roll, a wound roll, or a saving throw for a model in the bearer's unit, if the bearer is not battle shocked, can use this enhancement. If it does, treat the result as an unmodified roll of 6 instead. It seems pretty obvious that GW knew, hey, coterie is the thing that they're doing. We should handle that. I think it's a bit heavy-handed, if you ask me, because you don't really have that much to work with. But going past that, let's look at something else really quick. Well, 2 things before I start talking about what the future for Emperor's Children, in my opinion, may hold. Lucius went up 10. I feel like it's why? Okay, let's be real. He is a 5-up, feel no pain, lone up, 5-2, 6 wounds, 4-up invuln, 150 points. At the start of the fight phase, if this model is not leading the unit, has fights first. A challenge worthy of skill. Each time this model makes an attack that targets a character, monster, or walker unit, you can reroll the hit roll, and you can reroll the wound roll. So, he has good attacks, but frankly, I don't think I'm that scared of Lucius that he needed to go up, especially when I'm gonna say it. I don't think this is a hot take. I think enough people agree with this. He's just better without having a unit attached. So I just can't see why. I think you know what? I think I just answered my own question. I think that GW is really trying to treat like they did with my old One Eye, same 150 points, where if the unit has the possibility to be better without leading a unit, they're just going to be like, no, let's not fix the bodyguard. Let's just hike up the points on the leader. And to that, I don't think Flawless Blades are bad. I just don't think they're good enough to attach Lucius and lose the benefits of just using Lucius. So, I don't know. I think we'll still see Lucius, of course. It's a fine enough include, but I don't know, 150 points for a lone op without, deep strike or infiltrate or scout. It's kind of steep just for 6 wounds. I don't know. It doesn't have extra attacks. He's fine. Lucius is fine. And then we have to talk about, of course, the Noise Marines. Yeah, that one we all saw coming. They attach to Lord Cacophonous most of the time, but they're good enough. Terrifying Crescendo. if you shoot somebody, you can pick one of them, and each time they take a battle shock or leadership test, subtract one from the hit. They have two blast masters uh, per unit. It's a good data sheet. I just can't see this army being elite enough to be pointed at the way that they are. Like I can't see the tools being elite enough. Like if we are talking about world eaters, well, actually, they don't have that anymore. I was going to say they at least had things like feel no pains and all these other things to alter Well, that too, alter damage. Now they have the option of sustain lethal, devastating wounds. All of these things, a lot more reflexive and flexible, I guess, to deal with everything while having tight, highly costed units because the model range is limited. But if you cost Noise Marines and Demon Prince with Wings, the only time people are taking that out the ass, it's kind of hard to justify some of it because what else are people going to take, right? Like, looking at the roster, you have still your Infractors and your Tormentors, and that's like kind of it for like units that aren't. Oh, sorry, Flawless Blades too. Units that aren't just like dipshits, right? Like we're looking at comparing battle line, and then past that, well, what are you supposed to do? And I see Noise Marines are in the same vein of tank buster points, and I don't think they need to be. I just can't. I can't say that that needs to be the equivalent. Like they're stronger, but I think that people can sleep at night with a little bit of stronger. And I'm a bit confused on what GW wants the direction to be past that because nothing else came down in return, right? So they definitely tackled. They definitely attempted to tackle the first issue. Like, hey, this is the thing with game design that kind of peeves me when, especially like the 40K community, especially is bad with this. Oh, I hope that they nerf it. That way, something else. Da da da. It's like you don't have a guarantee that there will be a decent compensation. Because right now we're looking at higher coterie list, but there's a reason people are taking that list. And 20 points off Fulgrim isn't enough for me to go, alright, I'll drop my 3 Demon Princes and play Fulgrim. Like, there needs to be something else along here for me to feel that this is as great. And then even going back to the Demon Prince of Slaanesh with Wings, let's talk about the other one really quickly here. Yeah, the lone up next to infantry is cute, while a friendly Slaanesh unit is within 6 inches of this unit. If it made a charge move this turn, improve the AP of melee. That's cute, but you gotta end there. So, like, And then ecstatic death. If this model is destroyed by a melee attack, if it not fought this phase, roll 1d6 on a 2-up fight on death. So, that's something that we could have easily brought down, right? Like, this is something that could have come down in comparison to at least skew what people were going to do. Because excessive vigor still requires you to put this thing out there instead of just slamming it into people and saying, okay, here's tank shock, right? Like, instead of just slapping tank shock onto a flying unit, if we're trying to go the direction of making demon princes do this lone op thing and then be like decent buffers, I think we needed to see that reflected on the walking demon prince of Slaanesh, especially. Out of all the data sheets, I would have liked to see the walking demon prince of Slaanesh come down some. Um, but past that, again, it's a small range. There's not too much to be fussed about. I like the flawless blades could have seen some points reductions. That would have been cute. Each time this unit is selected to fight, it could call upon demonic patrons. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, an unmodified wound roll of 3 up scores a critical wound. At the end of the fight phase, if this unit called demonic patrons this phase and no enemy models were destroyed by attacks made by models in this unit, one model in this unit is destroyed. That would have been cute. right? Would have been cute, especially because, yeah, the critical wound on 3 plus doesn't do like jack shit for them here. But if we're going to talk about like needing to expand out of things, it's like, again, Flawless Blades, 220 points for what? Right? Like 220 points for what in this? And then you tell me, yeah, it has to be like coterie because that's just how it works. It's like, but I have to get 5 plus pack points on that if I was going to do that. So going off of the Flawless Blades and how mechanics in general for this army is kind of looking in regards to the limited pool, I think we, I think you all, I mean, not including myself because I haven't bought any of them yet, might want to look at other things. And, just humble suggestion, right? Humble suggestion. I think everybody will look at other things naturally when your favorite thing gets nerfed. You go, well, how you doing? And kind of go to that. And the first one that I'm kind of wondering if it has leeway now because of Fulgrim, especially, Carnival of Excess. I think there might be something here now because of Fulgrim don't going down. Again, going back to the whole, uh, we could be looking at a list that genuinely, kind of what Scintillating Legion kind of did for a bit there. Where it's just like, well, I guess I could take a bunch of fucking Demon Princes, huh? I think Carnival of Excess has a chance to do that. Demonic empowerment, while Emperor's Children is within 6 inches of Legion of Excess, you get empowered, and vice versa. While a unit from your army is empowered, weapons equipped by models in your unit have sustained 1. If such a weapon already has that ability, crits on 5s. Now, going to something like seeing Flawless Blades, hopefully more often than what I would have liked to see, yeah, sustained then critical wound, that makes a little bit more sense. Like, mind you, when I say that, I'm not saying that you get sustained on 3 because that's a different. That's the hit roll and that's the wound roll. But at least now I'm like, well, they have to work for it in some regard, right? Like it's a successful wound, I guess I should say. So it's just like making more things work. If we're out here critical hitting, might as well get something out of it. But sustained hits, and then, well, actually, let's go through some more of Carnival Access to talk about it. The fact that Psychophantic Surge can get certain units, cough cough, what's coming up, advance and charge, might give you enough relief to free up a Fulgrim in your list to then actually do demonic Primarch shit. Actually, let's talk about that unit first. The unit that I'm hoping might fill in a gap by going with Carnival. If this should be no surprise to some people that have seen my name, Shalaxi Hellbane. Yes, I'm a big model enthusiast. I know I push them. 100 millimeter base, T10, 14 inches of movement, 3 up save, 4 up invuln, 20 wounds. You can reroll advance and charge rolls made for this model with no prey can evade. Deep strike, deadly demise, D6. You have a bunch of shit. I'm not going through the entire weapons profiles. Monarch of the Hunt. At the start of the first battle round, select one enemy unit of this model's quarry to be this model's quarry. Each time this model makes a melee attack that targets its quarry, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Each time this model's quarries are destroyed, select one new enemy unit to be this model's quarry. So, with Shalaxi advancing and charging on the battlefield, with something like Carnival of Excess, Psychophantic Surge, yeah, I think we end up in a situation into where you can finally let Fulgrim be unleashed. Now, it's not as simple as advance and charge. Let me read through the rest of it. Your charge phase, Legion of Excess, yada yada yada. Until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to declare charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back, provided at least one of the targets of that charge is within engagement range of one or more Emperor's Children units from your army. So, Fulgrim, 365, right? 365, 16-inch movement, fly, monster. You're playing Emperor's Children, so you have access to advance and charge. That's where I think if you just let Fulgrim and Shalaxi tag team your opponent's line, I think it'll be fine. Just let both of them deep strike, come on in and let the party get it going. That's where I think that there's space for this to do. Now, mind you, we're talking about some giant fucking bases. So let's not get too, you know, ahead of ourselves, I guess, because we are talking about 100 millimeters and 130 millimeter bases. So, uh, fellow people that have used a Norn before, or like, just 100 millimeter in general, that's not the easiest thing to prevent a traffic jam. However, uh, this is an army in which if you can get it in, you can get it in. So I think we might be opening up the door for things like this, especially with things coming down. So again, going to Chaos Knights coming from 12 to 11. Yeah, I think there's room for a Salaxi to start actually doing more things with Soul Piercer and then following up with Snapping Claws. Basically just giving them freedom of movement. Then you also have something like Dark Apparitions to give you a little bit more scoring potential, because one of the things that I was worried about Emperor's Children is in completely a pilot issue. If I'm being honest, it's completely a pilot issue. You still have to score points, and if you're just advancing and charging or advancing and shooting all game because you can and not really paying attention, you won't score as much as you should. So with something like Dark Apparitions, just making sure that you have like trash to do dumb shit. Uh, let's read through it. End of your opponent's fight phase. When Demon Edge unit from your army that is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Remove your unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. It arrives back on the battlefield in the reinforcement steps of your next movement phase using the Deep Strike ability. It can be set up anywhere that is more than 6 inches horizontally from all enemy units instead of more than 9, provided it is also set up within 9 inches of one or more friendly Emperor's Children units. Now, 2 command points for Demonettes is not terribly desirable. Let's call it for what it is. It's not terribly desirable. But it is to say, in a pinch, when you're playing a faction that, as I was saying before, doesn't necessarily just have bullshit, taking 90 points and doing bullshit while letting bigger bullshit run amok probably is handy. Now, could it be the fucking Corn Demonkin detachment where you just spawn fucking demonettes? Yeah, it probably should have been that. Could it have been Nurgle, where you just get demonettes? It could have been that. But alas, a 6-inch deep strike for demonettes fights first. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit with engagement range of one or more units from your army with this ability must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result if that enemy unit is below half strength. Yeah, now we have drop battle shock test, possibly following up those noise marines we talked about earlier, and giving you dumb shit to score. So while I'm not a fan of the 2 command point cost, that's another thing that I think, like, while we were adjusting things, that could have come down. Like, I guess I shouldn't be putting it on here, but while we're adjusting things and making changes to Emperor's Children, and if you really didn't want just coterie, there were things to come down. Like, why am I looking at two command point stratagems in one detachment? And I understand a lot of the changes that happened in this balance data slate were to prepare for challenger cards. I'm going to make a video regarding the Hive Tyrant and like some of the Calgar shit and things like that. Whereas, like, yeah, they touched things giving you free command points because you're also going to be using free command point stratagems or cards or whatever fuck we want to say about that right now. So it can't get too wild if you end up doing 3 things for free a turn. That's a bit much, no? So I see why they are still playing it safe with not, freeing up this. But still, Violent Crescendo could have been one command point as well. Dark Apparitions, end of your opponent's fight phase, is strong. So I know I didn't sell the Demonette's part of it, but it's the end of your opponent's fight phase. I think they had to think about some reinforcement aspect, and that's why it's costed that way. So my shout is Carnival of Excess starting to step up because the other thing that I worried about with Emperor's Children is the power to punch through things. And yeah, let's talk about Maulerfiends real quick. Talk about Maulerfiends for a second. They have Maulerfiend Fist, and in here they have Advanced Charge, right? All fine and dandy. Even have Magma Cutters for Melta if you want to do it that, right? But that's 130 points is a fine price point. 10 inches of movement, pretty good. The base, fine. We've all figured Mauler Fiend base move him around the board, right? But you're delivering 6 attacks of Strength 14, hitting on 3s, AP 2. So while it's nice that you will be wounding something of that caliber, probably on 3s, you probably won't be doing enough meaningful AP and then having D6 plus 1 damage to put it down to the ground with among 6 attacks. So, if you can open up that door to a Shalaxi, and I'm just going to bring it up because it's the equivalent, but you're not using a keeper for popping things, it should be at least talked about here. 280 points, minus 1 to hit. You can increase the AP of Legion of Excess units around 6 inches. That's all fine, but I do think that we might really need to look at a Shalaxi include for Emperor's Children in this state of the game to do a lot better. That's just where I feel. Demon Edge talked about, and Fiends. That's the other one that I wanted to address. Each time an enemy unit that's not a monster vehicle within engagement range of one or more of these units from your army with this ability falls back, they gotta take Desperate Escape. When doing so, if the enemy unit is also battle shocked, -1 to those Desperate Escape tests. 95 points. This is, again, your bullshit. I think Emperor's Children would benefit from having bullshit units that Legion of Excess just provides. So I'm betting on Carnival Excess to step up a bit. And lastly, the one that I first said, hey, this is probably where you want to go to, Peerless Bladesman. I don't think less of it, like at all. But I do think that you need to. I think that when we are nerfing all of these things, you run into the same problem as why I think Coterie is going to fall off. You don't have much bullshit, and Coterie's flaws are now going to be exacerbated because you have less bullshit to get away with trying to pop your opponent's units to get your stuff online. Whereas Peerless Bladesman doesn't have that issue, in my opinion, you still have less bullshit overall. So, Emperor's Children, I want to hear your thoughts on if Carnival of Excess is the pivot to go to. And I'm really thinking Shalaxi might be able to be okay now, even at T10, but with the game coming down in toughness, unless you're a fucking great unclean one, I guess. I think there's something remaining for Emperor's Children, but this does feel a bit odd that there wasn't more compensation for army. What's the term that everybody loves to use that I'm blanking on? Army, internal balance. For more internal balance, that other things that are, the only includes right now, not coming down in points to make up for the fact that the auto includes went up. Because, yes, I get it. If you take down the other shit that was not as important, people are still going to run the exact same list. If you put the Demon Prince up 20 points, but then take the Infractor's down 20 and the Tormentor's down 20, that means you still have the exact same list. But I think it would have been worth exploring some more interesting things like the Flawless Blades or Chaos Terminators, which aren't necessarily in those lists to begin with. Or maybe even Hell Land Raiders. But, they kind of standardized all the evil vehicles. So, it's all to say, Emperor's Children, you got kind of hit kind of hard. And I don't know if Coterie is still the one, especially with things that have come out in the pipeline recently. So, hey, it's something. But yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.